been out recruiting and doing various other stuff the last couple of weeks. What have you wanted to accomplish with this team in terms of bowl preparation since the end of the season?
Yeah, so at all phases for us, it's about just harping on the fundamentals, making sure we're good with clean with our eyes, feet, and our hands. Like, are we sound in what we want to do from a base game plan standpoint? Like you said, we've all been traveling a ton, right? So us collectively getting together as a defensive staff has been a little bit difficult other than the big weekends where we're all here on campus. So we just putting together the nuts and bolts of what we need to get done, and hopefully just taking the next step when we have the opportunity to. This was our last big practice for a while, and I thought the guys came out and, did the things what we were in terms of what we were looking for. Fundamentals, playing with clean eyes, playing with great feet, and having their hands in the right place in terms of placement.
You guys have gotten quite a bit of good news in terms of retention for next year. What is that like as a staff when these guys are making these announcements, they're coming back, and what has been your selling point in some of these discussions to help make them that decision to come back?
You know what, man, I think if you zoom out and you think about the macro of it, I think it speaks to our culture, that the guys want to be here, want to be on the team and be around one another, the value that they place on the brotherhood that's here, that's been developed in our time here. And the fun and the expectation and vision that we have for ourselves moving forward. So it's certainly been good news. We love coaching our guys, and we have great kids.
What have you bowl prep for Tulane? I know that kind of gets missed with being on the road recruiting, retaining players. What have you done in preparation for Tulane, and what does Tulane bring on the offensive end that you guys need to be prepared for?
Yeah, so I've watched a good amount of Tulane film. Really good football team. So without getting into too much of the minutia of how we've prepared so far, we just know we need to go out and do what we do really well. And what we in our strengths, maximize those, our deficiencies, try to hide those, and just figuring out what identity are they going to have, right? Because their head coach is left. They have a new head coach now, but a lot of their personnel is returning or has decided to play in the bowl game. So, really good team. They play well together, and it's just going to be about going out and executing at a high level.
Coach, if you could talk a little bit about any military connections you have, and just talk about just the meaning of playing in this bowl game, because obviously it's a special bowl game to connect to the military.
Yeah, my great-grandfather, William Thigpen, born in Mississippi, raised in Mississippi, and lived in Baton Rouge, Louisiana until he passed. He served in the Navy, was a part of World War II, and obviously he has a tremendous amount of respect in our family and did do a ton before he passed. And so that's my only, that's part of my connection to the military. And so, obviously it has a big place in my heart and in our spirit. It means a lot for us to be able to go to Annapolis and play in this game, and not only have an opportunity to play in the bowl game, but what this bowl game is emblematic of, right? And how powerful it is to say that you've played in this bowl. So we're thankful and absolutely looking forward to it.
Coach Prime mentioned that Nasir played the final 2 games of the season with a broken thumb. His toughness, I know he's not going to get a chance to play another game. Mm-hmm. As a guy who was a captain for you guys and such a big part of building when you arrived, what is he like as a person, and how important has he been to you and your defensive unit? Absolute
warrior. I mean, he's like a coach on the field. He doesn't get fazed. Nothing really makes him frantic. He sees it. The game comes slow to him because he's seen so much. And he's absolutely a model for leadership and maturity for all of our young players. It means the world to me and to us. And so, man, he's been a pleasure to coach. And he'll be one of those guys 20 years from now that we'll all be talking about just because of what he brought to the table and his level of consistency.
I guess the carousel at safety has been nothing new for you guys this year. It seems week to week to change. What have you seen out of Mose and Jalen at those safety spots in these last couple of weeks, and just their growth over the season?
Yeah, exactly what you said. Those guys have grown each week. When it comes to Jalen Jones, it's a really, really elite athlete, in my opinion, who has great movement skills. I mean, he has movement skills of a corner, but playing safety. So learning that position, the communication that position requires, him understanding the games and concepts and how he's getting attacked at his position. I've seen him grow, and like I was talking about with Nas, it started to slow down for him towards the back end of the year. Like when you think about Mose Phillips, he's a young man who's extremely physical, comes from a football family, father played at Tennessee, and he's a coach's son. So he's somebody who's been around football his entire life. So playing at a high level, playing in tense situations, having pressure put on him is nothing new for him. But certainly as a freshman, you're going to have your mistakes. he's learning from those, and he's gotten a lot better.
How important is Derek Canteen sticking around for the bowl game to help with that safety room with Stroman and Nasir both out?
Yeah, we love DC, man, and really proud of what he's brought to the program. Having him around is invaluable.
Anything else for Coach?
The change that you guys didn't have as much on the defensive side, but the mixing of the transfers and the guys that were here.
Sure.
It's obviously you had some success at that at the end. How much of the growing pains were there as from spring to the start of the season to where you're at now? Maybe growing pains isn't the right word, but the challenges,
I'm not sure I understand
the challenges you had of meshing transfers and the guys that were here and all that.
Yeah, our guys do a phenomenal job of like embracing whoever we bring into the locker room. I think there's a level of innate trust with who we as coaches, who Coach Pry as the head coach decides has the ability or the capacity to join our program. And what they do a really good job of is embracing them, because they know if we've said yes to them and they've said yes to us, that they fit who we are. They know how to work. They embrace challenges. They're willing to face adversity head on and willing to work through the growing pains, as you said. And so, man, I think our leadership defensively, like with Norrell Pollard, Josh Fuga, with Nasir Peoples, all three captains, they've done a great job of embracing all of them. I mean, the two that jumped to mind, or the three that jumped to mind, Derek Canteen, APR, and Pusha P. Feldarius Payne, who came here 2 years ago. I mean, those guys are part of the fabric of who this defense is. They're not outsiders looking in. So.
And Coach Pride said during the recruiting process last year that when you did bring in transfers, he wanted guys that are going to be able to embrace the culture. And the percentage seemed pretty high. I mean, through that and everything. How confident were you guys that the majority of these guys that are coming in were going to do what they were able to do?
Well, we do a fair amount of homework on guys in terms of looking at who they are, their character makeup, their background. It's a lot more than just what you can pull up on PFF or on Google. It's a lot of conversations with previous coaches, family members, people that we know in the profession that have connections or ties to the young men. And so there's a lot of groundwork put in before a decision is ever made from a multitude of levels. And so when the decision of yes is made, we all feel really good about eliminating unknowns. And so we know if they're here, there's a pretty high probability that they're going to fit who we are.
Chris, how much of a challenge is it, this calendar being so compact this time of year with bowl prep? Obviously, you're trying to finish out the high school recruiting class. The transfer portal is just, I think there's thousands of kids from across the country in it. How much of a challenge is this?
I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as a privilege. I mean, we sit here a year ago, we're not thinking about a bowl game, right? The kids have worked tremendously hard to earn this opportunity. The coaches have grinded and strained to get this opportunity. So I see it as a privilege, man. Are there opportunities where you have to be creative in terms of logistical elements or schedules throughout the course of the day? Absolutely. But, man, it's a privilege. And so we're working through it and figuring it out each day as it comes.
Last one, yes. What did you see from Jaden McDonald as the season progressed? It felt like, or it seemed like he kind of found some consistency right there towards the end of the year.
I think we all saw it. The kid, he got better. He's working at it, man. And you're talking about somebody who's played safety the majority of his career, safety and receiver in high school, and even DB when he got here, right? So he's played the position for a year and a half. It's come with lumps. He's a younger guy, but he takes coaching well. He's a student of the game. And I think you saw that in his production and the uptick of his production as the season went on. He played multiple positions, Mike and Will, for us, and did it without blinking. And so, man, proud of that kid, and we're going to keep working and getting better.